we're going to be bringing on one of our students, Ryan Dalton, who has gotten himself to 75,000, actually closer to 80 this month, but he said 75,000. I confirmed this with him. $75,000 per month in less than 2 years, or around 2 years. I think it's either a little bit less or a little bit more, but it's right around 2 years. And the amazing part is this person has a full-time job, big boy job, not just sitting at a gym checking people in, that where you don't have to think, you know, not sitting at a grocery store where you can put in your earphones and not have to talk to anyone. A legitimate big boy job, also has 2 kids, also is married, also has a dog, also has a house, all the things that should distract you, this person has got, and has been able to scale to $75,000 per month with this business model in 2 years, having no prior knowledge, nothing. So this is going to be an amazing call. I just want to cover 1 or 2 things quick, and wanted you guys to just know what we're going to be covering today. So it's going to be worth you guys staying on. Do not jump off this call. Trust me, this is one you're going to want to stay on. Okay. Couple quick things. Number 1, guys, from here on out, we are not going to be going live in the Facebook group like this. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing our live calls on Zoom. And so we're going to be doing select, like we're going to put a post up. We're going to promote the post. Hey, here, or the live. Here's the topic we're going to be covering. And we're going to select a certain amount of people based on who comments, likes, whatever. And we're going to make these more intimate, smaller groups where I'm doing these live on Zoom. And you guys can get in there, and it's more of a personal experience. It's more intimate. So this will be the last live that we do in the Facebook group, which means you guys are going to need to pay attention to this group. You're going to need to see when we put the teaser up. We'll probably put something up that says we're going to cover this subject. Comment this thing for the link, and then we will send the link to the people, the certain number of people that comment first. And that's how we're going to be doing it. So if you show up next week and there's no live in here, that's why. These lives are going to be exclusive on Zoom. By the way, for those of you that are already in Digital Landlords, you're going to have access to all those calls. So if you can't catch it, you'll get those replays. I'll put them inside of the training, and it will put all those replays. So don't worry about that. For everybody else, guys, make sure you're paying attention to this group. Make sure you have your notifications on, and you are watching for those teaser posts. Okay. I have a couple quick things I want to cover. Number 1, guys, no promotional posts, okay? No promotional posts in here. I don't want to be a cop. I don't want to be this, that, or the rest, negative. I don't want to yell, but it's just simple. No promotional posts, okay? Including free stuff, especially free stuff, okay? I don't care what you got. You're not hawking it in here. It's just not going to work, okay? And for those of you that are not the ones doing it, but you're the dummies that are messaging these people or commenting, guys, it's pathetic, okay? It's pathetic. Just because something's free doesn't mean you should take it. Just because somebody will give you money doesn't mean it's the right money that you should take, okay? Just because somebody is saying that they have a solution doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. And that's the truth, okay? So I want you guys to ask yourself, because we're going to do our best to keep this group clean and to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't get through the cracks, but occasionally it's going to get through the cracks, and it has this week. But I want you guys to just be smart and realize when you see these posts, when you see people pretending or whatever, hey, I got this solution, I've got this landing page, I've got this whatever, right? I want you to ask yourself is, how much is the person that's talking about this solution, how much are they making per month with this business model? Okay, this person that has this amazing solution, this landing page that converts out of this world, how much are they making? And if it, well, why are you only making a couple $1,000 a month, dude? Or nothing? Why are you making nothing per month? Okay. Next question I want you guys to ask yourself, has this thing been tried and tested and proven that they are offering, whether it's free or not? Okay. These are questions you guys need to ask yourself. You got to be an adult. You got to be a human. You got to realize that it's just funny, guys. Everyone wants a shortcut. Everyone wants to come into these groups that didn't build this group from the ground up, and they want to promote stuff. They want to offer this. They want to offer that. And I'm going to do my best to not allow it. And by the way, guys, if you're somebody that promotes something, even if it's free, I'm not going to make a fool of you or whatever. I'm just going to quietly remove you out of the group and block you forever. You never come back in the group. Okay. I'm not even interested in dealing with it. I don't care if you tell me you were going to buy digital landlords and oh my gosh, I don't need your money. Don't want your money. Life's too short and I don't want it. Okay. So if you put a promotional post, I'm just going to have the admins just remove you, block you, and you're that account, all future accounts forever. And we'll just completely remove you. Okay. I'm not going to make you look stupid, whatever. I'm just going to remove you. Okay. So that said, guys, if you're looking to get kicked out of the group really quick, just go ahead and promote something. What else? Guys, I want to do some giveaway stuff. I've got 9. Is it 9? No, 4. I talked about this last week, but guys, I wanted to just kind of do some fun stuff. We've got a few things. I've got these mouse pads. I've got a bunch of other stuff. We just created 4 new items that we're going to put into our store, and I'm going to be giving away on these lives. So I want you guys to be on the lives, and I'm going to be giving free stuff to people that add value to the group. And by the way, I do know who you are. I do see you. I'm going to be adding or giving away free stuff to people that show up on these calls live, which obviously isn't going to be live on Facebook. It's going to be inside of the Zoom. I'm still going to be giving stuff away. And I want to give stuff to people that are winning. So if you guys are winning, share it. So I know. I want to know who's winning, and I want to start rewarding you guys. So guys, I'm probably going to give a few of these away today. Again, just a simple mouse pad, but it's dope. If you don't use a mouse, it's a great drink holder. It's great to take a little nappy on. I'm going to be giving some of these away. And as of next week, we should have a bunch of items that I'm going to be giving away. And we got some cool stuff, some fun stuff with the branding on it. So get on these lives, or at least make sure to comment on the post so that you can get on the exclusive live on Zoom. Okay. What else? Last thing, guys, just a reminder. I don't know how many times I've said this. I'll keep saying it to myself and everyone else. Guys, you have to either pay the piper or you got to pay somebody else that's paid the piper. That's just the rule. Okay. It's a law. It's a universal law. There ain't no free lunch, baby. There is no free lunch. And I've seen some posts lately in this group. I spent $500. I spent $1,000. I spent whatever on ads. Why is it not working? And people shocked. Okay. And the reality is, guys, if you spend $1,000 on ads, keep going. Okay. Keep going. Once you get to $1 million, then we can talk. Then we can sympathize together. But until you hit $1 million, I don't feel bad. Okay. Because the thing is you guys want, not everyone, but people, they don't want to pay for someone's knowledge. They don't want to, pay the person that's paid the piper, AKA me, that spent the 1.5, 1.4, whatever $1 million on ads. They don't want to pay that because that would cost money. So they just want to shortcut everything. And then they're confused why they're losing money. You're going to keep losing money. Okay. So you either pay the piper, and some of you guys like that. You want to touch the stove. Oh, it actually is hot. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's hot. Okay. Okay. Then if you like that, then you need to do it. You got to go lose the money. You're never going to believe me. I'm more the type, not always, but a lot of times where I can see, yeah, that's not what I want to do. I don't need to touch it. See, it's hot. I can see he's burned. I've seen his Google ad account. I've seen he spent 1.4 million. That's enough for me to realize, like, I'm just going to pay him to show me how. Okay. But just understand, you got to pick one. You can't just skip the piper. The piper will be paid. Okay. And so guys, like I said, that's the deal. If you don't want to spend $1 million on ads, and this is one example, if you don't want to spend 7 years learning the sales script, if you don't want to figure out the perfect recipe, it's there. You guys know where it's at. That's why we have digital landlords. But I just like, if you don't want to go there, that's completely fine. I'm going to keep showing up in this group. I'm going to keep providing value. Just don't complain. Okay. I don't want to see the post. I spent $500, spent $1,000, complain, because I don't care. Okay. Go spend $1 million. Go spend $1 million. The piper has to be paid. That's it. Okay. So if you don't want to spend $1 million on ads, 7 years of your life figuring out the perfect recipe, you guys know what to do. Go ahead, check out the application for digital landlords, apply. We'll get back in touch with you. And on that note, guys, if you are getting, and we've gotten messages, if you are not getting a response, you're applying to the program, you're not hearing back from us, it's probably, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, did you actually fill out the application correctly? Okay. Did you actually take the time to do it? Or did you guys just half-ass it, right? Did you just put NA one-word answers? And if that's the case, if you're going to do that kind of an application, I don't want you anyway, okay? Did you leave your Facebook profile? Because we're asking for that. I'm not going to get on a call with you if I don't have your Facebook profile, because I don't want to waste my time with somebody that's a scam, okay? And were you an absolute dickhead in your answers? If any of those is yes, that's probably why, and we're not going to respond to you, okay? So the truth is, guys, and this is a quick reminder, is the thing that I love about this business. And once you start to get to a certain level, your bills are paid for and then some, and you're investing and you have a certain amount of income, you don't have to do business with people. You don't have to take people's money. When you have no money, it's really hard to say no to money. Okay. And what I used to do, guys, I used to, when I could tell somebody was going to be tough, I could tell somebody was going to always ask me questions, I could tell somebody was really going to be a pain, I would charge them an asshole fee. And I'd go in and say, hey, I'm going to overcharge what I normally would. I'm going to quote them super high because I don't think I'm going to get the deal. And if I don't, that's fine. But if I do get the deal, I've baked it in the price that I'm charging them extra because they're an asshole. And I would call it an asshole fee. Okay. And I did this for a long time. And some deals I took and I just kind of just dealt with it. I was like, I'm getting paid a lot. I'm going to deal with it. Okay. Now I'm to the point I won't deal with the asshole fee. And I had somebody yesterday. This is somebody that was in the free group, complete leech, complete just sucking everyone dry for information, no value, suck, never give. And but also didn't want to pay the piper, didn't want to invest anything, and was just being annoying. And I just kicked him out of the group and I said, no, you're out, right? And this person messaged Kyle yesterday, like, hey, if I get into digital landlords, can you get me access to all the material of the free group? And I said to Kyle, Kyle said, what do you want me to do? And I said to Kyle, I'll read it to you. I said to him this, and I can show you guys this so you know I'm not lying to you. I said exactly this. I said, tell him I'm not interested in doing business with him. I said 100% serious, screenshot and send it if you want. I don't want your money. That's basically what I said to him. I don't care if you're willing to pay. I'm not dealing with you. So again, guys, just remember when you are dealing with clients and you're at a certain level where you don't need the money, it's a beautiful thing to have somebody that wants to pay you and you can say no to the money because life's too short, man. I'm just not going to deal with it. So tying that back into promotional post, if you promote in this group, I'm just going to kick you out. I don't care if you were going to buy my program 4 times for 4 of your friends. I don't want it. Don't care. Not dealing with you. Don't promote my group. And I mean that in a really genuine, just kind way, but just go, go build your own group if you want to do that. Don't try to shortcut, but the piper must be paid. Same thing, guys. The piper must be paid. You can't just go into somebody's Facebook group and start swooping up clients. It's taken me over 2.5 years of organically building this group, of showing up live every single week to get to where we're at, to almost 6,000 members without ever inviting a single person myself. We've built an amazing community. We have so many resources. We've got so much good material, but this has taken me time and there's no shortcut. So don't come in here thinking there's a shortcut. I'll just kick you out. Okay. Guys, I think that's it. I think we're gonna bring our guy on. Man, I kind of want to give a teaser, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna give a teaser for next week because I got something special. You guys are gonna see this teaser next week, Monday. Keep an eye out. Check the group. You're gonna see what you need to comment to get the link to the live. But I got something special for you guys. I'm super excited. Something that happened to me when I was just barely in Paris, and the lessons that I learned from being around somebody that I'm pretty sure everybody would know. I would say majority of people would know this person that I spent a little bit of time with, and just learned so much from this little interaction that I had. So next week, we're going to be having a really, really solid live. Again, it's going to be the same day, Tuesday, 9 a.m. MST. Make sure to keep an eye on Monday for the teaser. Guys, we're going to be bringing Ryan Dalton on, Mr. $75,000 per month. From Memphis, Tennessee. So let me go ahead and add him into the call. Give me 1 second. Hang tight. There he goes.
What's up, buddy?
Ryan Dalton, what's up, bro?
Man, how you doing?
I'm good, dude. Since I saw you an hour ago, I already showered, dude.
I was about to say you look fresh.
Yeah, I showered, got a little beard oil in, and yeah, we're really cooking.
I'm jealous of the beard. Despite trying, just can't do it. Can't grow one.
And it's funny. Everyone's jealous of what they don't have. Anytime I see somebody that's completely just slick, I'm just like, dude, you just wake up and there's no maintenance. You don't have to put anything in. You don't have to wash it. You just freaking go.
That's true. Yeah, I get up and just like zip off like what hair I've got left, and I'm good to go. That's about it.
Ultimate efficiency, bro. That's what you're about. This actually fits your brand.
It does. I'm consistent in the branding.
And this fits mine because I'm always all over. So it works.
Yeah, it works for us.
Awesome, dude. Well, welcome to the call. Some of you guys might know Ryan. He's been on a couple of times inside of this group. You've probably, if you've been in this group for 2 years, you've probably seen his progression to, getting his first deal. Then I think we did an interview when you were at like 30 and then 50. And Ryan just hit $75,000 per month. Absolutely insane. So I'm super stoked. And I got a list of questions I want to ask Ryan. But I want you guys, if you're on this call right now, I want you guys to start queuing up your questions, put them in the comments. We're going to be talking about how Ryan was able to scale from never hearing about this business model, stumbling across it, doing his own research, to now doing $75,000 per month, actually just slightly higher. We're going to say $75,000 per month in 2 years, while having a full-time job, while having 2 kids, while having a spouse, while having a dog, dude, I didn't even mention this before, but you also like lead a group of men where you help them become better versions of themselves. And is that every morning or a couple times a week?
Oh yeah, that's every 2 weeks, and that's a fun like passion project. But yeah, I got hobbies like compete in jujitsu and like take my kids to go do stuff and travel. That's the beauty of this business model is once you close the business owner and the leads are coming in, they leave me alone. Like there's business owners I haven't talked to in literally like 2 years. Like I closed originally in my first year. Like I haven't heard from them. They're just thrilled. I mean, we'll text every now and then, but they're not like hitting me up for needing something.
Where did you just go, bro? I saw a post. Were you just out of the country?
Yeah, I was in Costa Rica for a week. It was awesome.
Was that jujitsu related or just for fun?
Just hanging out on the beach, man.
Dude, isn't it crazy? Like, for those of you, by the way, guys, we're not saying this to like rub it in or to try to be this or that. Like, it doesn't take that much money to go to Costa Rica. The thing is, though, like whenever I talk personally, I don't know about you, Ryan, but when I talk about being rich, I'm actually like not necessarily talking about money. I am talking about money to some degree, but I'm talking about freedom. I think that's the ultimate rich. I think I stole that from Tim Ferriss, but it's becoming location free, having location freedom, having financial freedom, and having time freedom. And I'd also add having speech freedom, because if you can't say what's on your mind and still make money, then I think that you're still stuck. But having those 4 freedoms, that's rich. And when you can pick up and say, hey, babe, well, let's go to Costa Rica just because, and the money's there, and I can do my business from there, and my time is mine. That's the ultimate rich, in my opinion.
Totally, man. Yeah. Yeah. And I was sitting in Costa Rica in the little hotel bar on my MacBook and closed the business owner sitting in Costa Rica. And I was like, just over the moon about it. Like the most fun business model. That's just part of it too, is it's just fun to build an agency. Like I'm having more fun now than I've ever had.
There is something different about closing a deal on vacation.
Yeah.
It actually hits different. And then there's one more level, is when your team, you have a closer that closes a deal for you while you're on vacation. That might topple everything, because you're like, oh, there's a contract that just came through, and you're like, oh, and the stripe charge, and I literally didn't even know this was going on. That's like the next tier, but it's an amazing experience. And I know you've been to Costa Rica. Where else have you been this year?
Just Costa Rica.
But I swear but you're traveling as well for other stuff, right? Like you've been to DC, you've been in other states.
Yeah. I go different places in the States, but for vacation, we went to Costa Rica.
Amazing. That was like one of my biggest things with this model, is I wanted to be able to just take my laptop, get on a plane, go or drive and go somewhere. And I have really, dude, I've really done that this year. I was in California. I went to LA, Santa Monica twice in January. Moved to Africa for February, March, April, went to London for 3 weeks, came to the US, went to London and Paris last week, and I'm going to LA tomorrow till Sunday. And then 2 weeks later, I'm going to go to Dubai. And the best part is the business moves forward. Everything continues at like clockwork. I've set up my calls so that they happen at times, even in Dubai, I'm still awake, or even in Paris, I'm still awake. And that's the beauty of the business model. So you go find me a model that you can check all the boxes. It's recurring, it's low barrier to entry, it's scalable. You could do it from anywhere. I believe is recession resistant and come to me, and I would love to explore, but I don't think it's out there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially the recession resistant part. Like, especially if you go into businesses where it's people's homes, or sorry, niches rather, where it's related to people's homes or businesses, like that's always going to exist. I mean, unless like a nuclear bomb hits, like there's always going to be leads coming in there.
You can't, if a tree's falling about to fall on your house, no matter how much money you don't have, you have to get it taken care of.
Have to. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so and there are niches that are a little bit more recession resistant within this space. However, just be thoughtful about that. You know, you don't have to have all completely recession resistant niches. I got some. I don't think artificial grass may be the most recession resistant, but it's really good. And to be honest, it is kind of in some of these states. I know in Vegas, it's going to be like a law that you have to have artificial grass by whatever year, or there's some kind of fine. So that one is pretty safe in Vegas, right?
Yeah, there's some interesting niches out there that are like compliance related, like where businesses must do this thing in order to continue building, right? So some of those like compliance related niches are ones that I'm kind of exploring a little bit. Like I've got my bread and butter ones, and I've got others I'm looking at that are like kind of interesting. Like I'll just throw one out there. There's one that's interesting to me is site surveying. Like businesses have to know where they can build. Like by law, you have to like permit to get a permit to build, right? Like that's not going anywhere. Like you have to know where you can put up a structure on land and the boundaries of that land. Like it's kind of a cool niche. Anyway.
Yeah. And unless the law changes, you're pretty solid. Now, and of course, guys, we don't just want to go jump into any niche. Like I think home inspection's interesting, but I've tried it. It can work, but it's a little bit more of a referral based business. So it's, you know, you have to look at all the metrics, but no, I'm with you. Like it's like
Yeah.
looking 2, 3, 4 steps down the road and realizing like, hey, I'm in this. And this is the other interesting thing. This is where we'll start with this conversation is when you're building your business with the mindset of I'm going to be doing this for the next 5 years, you build completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Talk about that, because I know that for you, when you got into this, you got in, you were kind of fumbled around a bit, but you were like, okay, boom, 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 you got a deal. And then you said to yourself, I'm going to commit the next year of my life, undistracted, undivided attention, and see where this goes. Talk about that really quick.
Yeah, so when I got into this business model, I realized that the places where I put my attention thrive, right? That's true of anything. It's true of relationships. It's true of your hobbies. It's true of business. So I didn't want to be in a situation where I was flirting with a bunch of different business models, where I was looking at, e-commerce or fulfillment by Amazon or whatever other internet-based business model looked interesting to me. I wasn't gonna like jump back and forth between those because it doesn't work in the other part of life, right? Like if I decide I want to be good at jujitsu, but I'm also playing tennis and I'm also playing kickball, like I'm not gonna get any better at jujitsu.
Yeah.
So it seems like so intuitive when you look at other parts of your life, like, oh, of course, if you want to be good at this thing, you have to put your time into it. But like this is so common in sort of like internet-based industries. People will like just sort of hop between these different business models. And said, I can't do that. If I want to build an agency, I'm going to build an agency, and I'm going to not look at anything else for a year. And after a year, if I fail, I will change course, right? I will adjust and do something different. But if I don't, I've fully committed all my time in, and I've got a great base to continue building a really big thing.
It's so true. The moment that you say to yourself, it's no longer, I'm going to do it for, I'm going to try 3 areas. And then if it doesn't work, the moment that you say to yourself, I'm going to make this work,
Yeah.
is the moment that everything changes, because you sit there and you start making long-term decisions. You start making moves and investing money into things because you're like, hey, I'm going to be in this until this thing works. So I'm okay investing my time and resource and energy into this thing that you normally wouldn't do, because you'd shortchange yourself, because you're just testing. You're just, they call it half pregnant, right?
Yeah.
You got to, if you're going to be pregnant, dog, just go have like three babies at once.
And it wasn't all like sunshine and rainbows. I mean, there were days that I was like, yo, this is not going so hot. So there were days, I mean, it kind of did like this. Like I'm trending up, but I'm bouncing on the way up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all easy, but over time the consistency creates results.
One thing that I got confused about, and I think it's worth mentioning, we always hear this stupid little thing in business. It's like the average millionaire has 6, 7 streams of income. You've heard that, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
And I think I heard this from Hermosi first, and then I've heard it, I've seen it on multiple like TikToks or whatever shorts. I don't even know. Maybe I read it, but I've seen it multiple people say it, and it's like, and it's true. It's like, no, that's not actually, that is true, but you're getting half the information. The 99% of millionaires, they make their money from one income stream. They do it really well. They do it really big. And then they diversify those income stream, that cash into multiple income streams. And
Right.
so what happens is we hear this and we're like, oh, I've got 5,000 or 3,000 or 1,000 coming in from rank and rent from digital real estate. Now let me go and get a little bit coming in from drop shipping and a little bit coming in from e-com, and then you make nothing.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
the truth. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
and remember, guys, for those of you that are just dabbling, that are just half pregnant, just got a little toe that's getting wet, and you're not willing to jump in, you're competing against people like me and Ryan that are all in, that are dumping in tens of thousands of dollars into our team, into the tools that are helping us scale, into things that are helping our clients. We're putting money into our clients. We're sending them gifts. We are putting systems in place where we're doing the things that you're not, and that's who you're competing against. You're going to get beat. So if you're going to come into this space, you got to jump all in if you actually want to make this work. Okay. But I asked you this question because I had Ryan jump into our digital landlords call. We had a little bit different discussion, but this is the one that I do want to double dip on, because it's such an interesting question to me, and I want you to share this same answer that you did before, but why is it, and it's such a mind-boggling thing, but why is it that we could take somebody like yourself, you have the same information, you're inside of digital landlords, you have the exact same information as somebody else that's maybe in there that I was telling you about that is texting me, and they've been in there longer than you, and they're basically saying, hey, I'm quitting. I just want you to get me out of the group, and whatever, it doesn't work, and blah, blah, blah. And this model is crap. Why? How can you have access to the same information and you can make, you're going to be soon on your way to a 7-figure per year agency, and then somebody that's made no money? Like, how the hell can that be possible? Same information, same live coaching calls, same niches that I'm recommending, same internet, also live in the U. Like, you can't even, this person doesn't even like live out of the country. They use that excuse, which is still BS. But why? Why is that? Why is that?
Yeah, so I think it's a good question. I mean, it's different for everyone in different circumstances, but I think it comes back down to mindset. Like, I look at this as a craft. Local lead generation is a craft, and the more that you apply yourself in your craft, the better results that you're going to get. And there's some people that either will bounce around to different things, or they'll get distracted, or they will have a negative mindset, and they'll have like self-limiting beliefs, like, oh, I can't do it, or I don't know SEO, or I don't know sales. I couldn't have told you what a backlink was in 2021. I had to Google what is a backlink. I had no idea, right? Like, I didn't know how to do ads. I didn't know how to build on WordPress. And I sat and I struggled through learning how to build a site, because I prefer WordPress. That's where I build my sites. I struggled through learning how to build a site on WordPress. And it's just that you just have to have that grit and say, like, I'm going to be someone successful in local lead generation. And then with that comes, like, what's that adage? Like, the more you do, the more you do. Like, the more that you get momentum, the more results that you get. And so, like, a lot of my agency's growth in the last 60 days has been referrals. It's been other people coming to me and saying, I heard you did this for this guy. Will you do this for me now? And I, get them started. And so, anyway, I think a lot of it's mindset, and a lot of it is just saying, like, I'm going to learn the craft of local lead generation. It's not this get rich quick scheme. You're going to have to, put in the time and effort, and you will be rewarded for it. And this business model is incredibly lucrative, and there's so much opportunity still out there for it.
100%. I'm going to throw out a couple of the devil's advocate questions that I know everyone at some point will ask, and I've already answered it 100 times, and I have YouTube videos, 4 different versions of it. But first and foremost, is this business model saturated? Is somebody that's in this group for the first day, are they like, oh crap, I should have got in 2 years ago? Do you think it's saturated? Straight up, honest, do you think that?
There are some niches that are harder than others, but
100%.
overall, absolutely not. There are niches out there that are wide open. wide open niches that are out there. There's hungry new business owners all the time that are hungry guys. They're just starting their company that are, you know, wanting to get started in whatever it is, like new hungry business owners. There's wide open niches. And even in the niches that are like more competitive, you can't throw a rock and not hit an abandoned lead generation site. Where you go into a market and I look at that site and I look at their backlink profile, I might even call the phone number and it's abandoned. It's someone that just gave up on how to sell it, right? And so the opportunity, I think that we're still early in this, and you can use like a keyword tool like Mangles to look at keyword search volume for a keyword like rank and rent versus drop shipping. The keyword disparity is enormous, and it's just a signal, like a data point for me to show like we're still early in this business model, and like this is the gold rush. Like this is the time to get assets up and running.
The other thing that I think is super interesting, guys, is Ryan, just like myself. And by the way, you just barely made your first like $1 million. I saw you make a post in here, right?
Yeah, so June I made my first $1 million in this
Made
industry.
his first $1 million in this business model collectively. I made, and this was one of the biggest things that I hated about all these other groups is the people that were teaching this is they weren't making their money from doing the actual thing. Okay, they were doing it by, you know, if we're using the Gold Rush example, selling the picks, selling the shovels, selling the sandwiches, whatever. But they didn't actually have their own mind. The thing about Ryan and I is we've made our millions. I've made multiple millions. Ryan will make multiple millions. He's already made his first million in 2 years doing the actual thing. We have our mind. We've made our million from the gold. And yes, I am now selling picks and shovels because I have a program. I have digital landlords. I've never shied away from that. But you can at least trust that I know what the shovel needs to look like. I know what material it needs to have. I know exactly how to give you the tools because I've done it and I'm still doing it. And that's the same with Ryan. And so we're not asking you to trust us. In fact, you should listen to us and you should think that we're just another bunch of scams like everybody else, because for all you know, we are. But I think that once you get to a certain level in business, you can tell when somebody knows what they're talking about and somebody doesn't. And I want you to be the judge. And if we give you a recommendation, go test it. Don't just believe us. If you believe us, you're going to believe the next guy. And that's the freaking problem. So anyway, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. Ryan, give us a quick, just give everyone like a really quick 1-minute version of how the heck you got here, what you were doing before, and that whole thing really quick, just so we can catch up.
So I moved back to Memphis with my family in 2021, and I moved back before I used to be a federal agent, and my training as a lawyer. I still work for the company that I work for now. I do this while having a job, but I wanted to own something that was mine that no one else can take from me. At the end of the year, when they have the your annual merit increase, and then just hand you is they just drop you some, you know, coins for your 2% merit increase, I can be like, okay, doesn't bother me. I don't care. I wanted to have something that was completely under my control, completely mine, such that my destiny and my fate of my family is mine, right? I control when the money comes in because I can go out and find it. And so I wanted to build a company, and I looked at a whole bunch of business models. I looked at all the ones that you can think of that are internet based, and this is the one where I was like, yeah, this has got some legs on it for a lot of reasons I could go into later. But I chose this business model, and I said, I'm going to succeed in this. And I had a great blueprint for it, and then just sprinted after it until I got where I am today.
Why, what was, I know for me, there was multiple reasons. What was the biggest factor that made you decide that rank and rent over, let's say, drop shipping, e-com, crypto, MLM? Like what was the biggest factor with this business model?
It's objectively valuable, right? If you want to sell some trinkets using TikTok ads for a sushi roller, right? Like it's just like cheap stuff from Alibaba. You know, like I personally ideologically cannot get behind that. What I can get behind is getting leads over to a concrete business owner that calls me a month later and says, "This has changed my life." Because they had nothing. Angie's wasn't working for them. Home Advisor wasn't working for them. And they call me and they're like, "This is going to keep my business alive." Like that fires me up. And so the product, what you're doing for business owners, ultimately was something that I very much am aligned with in my values.
A strategy to win in any area of life that's going to always work, and it may take time, but it's always going to be your best bet, is adding value consistently. And that's it's such a good point. I remember when right around the time I did start this, one of my neighbors, 7, 8 years ago, it wasn't as common people had online businesses. I don't know if you remember this time, but like when you would be like, oh yeah, that person, you like everyone would kind of whisper, they like sell stuff on Amazon and they're making like whatever per month. Do you remember these days? Like 8 years
Oh
ago?
yeah,
It
yeah.
was
Where
like
it was like
yeah.
uh, yeah, mysterious is a good word for it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like he works from home and there's all these boxes in his garage. And it was like it was so interesting, right? And one of my neighbors, just like a street behind me, was an Amazon seller and they were selling. And I remember like hearing some rumors about what they made. They were selling like all kinds of products, but like micro, whatever these derma rollers with the spikes, you freaking like aerate your face for, right?
Yeah.
Random product, right? And of course, I know for a subset of people that there's value there, but
Totally.
at the end of the day, that you could go without that thing, right? I've never done it to my face, and I'm okay, right?
Yeah.
Businesses have when this cliche thing, leads are the lifeblood of business. It's true. As soon as the leads dry up, business is dead.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Businesses have a very finite lifetime remaining on their runway when the leads dry up. They have to have them.
Yep. It's yeah, and anyway, so yours was objective value. Is that what you said? Is that the term you used?
Yeah.
Objectively valuable. And for me, which was a little bit different, I never even truly thought about that, although I think I probably knew that deep down. Mine was the fact that it was asset based. And because of my previous experience, I was knocking doors and I would have to be at the door doing the pitch, getting spit on and shit on and guns pulled on and F words screamed at to make money. And I was like, I cannot have my time tied to my dollars. So that's number one. Number two, if I'm going to do something hard, I'm going to get paid next month and next month. So I needed recurring revenue and I needed assets. And those are the two things. And for you guys watching, it may be something completely different. It may be the fact that you can do it remotely, which is common with all businesses, but there's always that thing. The thing about this model is it checks all of them.
Right.
High margins. I mean, we could go into it, but it's the truth. Okay. Here's a question I want to ask you, Ryan. Um, was your timing perfect when you started this? And maybe it was, and I don't know, but I get this all the time. I hear this, I see comments, I talk to friends. I just need to, we're moving, and then once we move, and it's like there's always something. It's never going to be perfect, in my opinion. Maybe yours was perfect, but was your timing perfect?
No, and I hear that too. They just don't want it. Right? If you really want it, you'll prioritize it. Like I catch myself doing this all the time. Where like someone will ask me, "Did you do this thing?" Or my wife will ask me, "Did you do this thing?" I'll say, "I ran out of time," and I have to stop myself and I'll say, "I didn't prioritize it." And we prioritize the things that we want most, right? So people have told me this before. Oh, I'm going to start doing rank and rant when X happens. It's like, okay, you just don't really want it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I get to like bust their balls a little bit, and they're like, "What?" Like no one talks to them that candidly sometimes in their life. I'm just like, you don't want it. If you
Yeah.
wanted it, you prioritize it, right? And that's true of anyone. You put your attention where you want to put it.
And that's why I get excited when people apply to my program and I see their application and I read their why, and their why is like, I'm sick and tired of having to tell my kids no to this vacation, and it's hurting me as a man or a woman. And I can sense, and I look at how much money they're making, and it's not that much. I'm way more excited about that person and working something out with that person than the person that's making $20,000, $30,000 a month and they don't have a strong why. They think it's interesting, right? And
Yeah.
so I 100% agree with you, dude. The timing is never going to be like ever going to be right. When I started this, I used to make all my money in a 4 or 5 month period knocking doors. If I didn't make that money, whatever I made then, that's what I used to live on. I had to be focused. And I remember buying my first program, getting into this. Literally, I was about 2 or 3 weeks into my summer, which is my working time. It made no sense. I just bought a house. I had just gotten a new car with a note on it. We had our second child on the way. I was knocking doors during the day. I was exhausted. I was also like a manager, which meant I had to take care of other people. The timing was terrible, terrible. But I just felt like if I didn't start it then, I never would. And so I think that I spent like 8 grand to get into that program. And I didn't have that 8 grand, but I just had to take it. So guys, start making it a habit when you feel like that it's time to go, just do it. It's never going to be right. I, I'm pretty sure, Ryan, you're probably the same as me. When I had kids, dude, I wasn't ready.
No, I guess that's true. What people say about most hard things in life, right? Is that most things worth doing you won't be ready for, right?
You got to
Like,
catch it, bro. When the opportunity comes, if you're waiting for the time to be perfect, you're going to miss so much.
yeah, yeah.
It's the truth. So, anyway, I was just curious. So, guys, if you're sitting there waiting for perfect timing, it's never going to come. It really, really isn't. And that's true, not just for this. It's true for when you're going to go get in shape. I hear this all the time. Yeah, I'm going to start this. I've got a lot of projects coming up. Then I'm going to get into the gym. No, you're not.
And they just don't value it that highly. Like,
Yep.
whatever the thing is, like it's getting in shape or running a business or whatever. Like, you gotta want that more than whatever else you're spending that time doing. Like, I think that some people lack like a vision for the future. They lack a vision that allows them to have action today, where like they think, where could I be in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, right? Like, I had a vision for where I am today. It's like I'm going to have a successful company. I'm going to like it's going to happen, and that vision just is why I wake up every day. And it's also fun to build that vision. Like, it's more fun than other things I could spend my time doing, like sitting in front of Netflix. I don't, that doesn't interest me anymore. Like, friends are like, "Did you see the latest whatever series?" I'm like, "No." Like, I'm doing something that is more fun and more valuable to me than that. And the results that come with it are way better than whatever time I would have spent watching whatever else I would have been doing.
It's so true, bro. I have the best quote. I'm going to try and find really quick. I'm going to find it. Well, I'm going to ask you a question so you can answer while I find this
Is it the
quote.
Lamborghini quote?
No, I wish, dude. I wish. Here, I'll find it. It'll take me 2 seconds. It's such a good quote, and it's just a one-liner, and it was the most. Let's see if it's right here. I even called my dad and I told him this. Where the heck? Oh, is it right here? It was the most. It just completely. I'll find it here in a second. I won't waste too much time, but I'm gonna share it related to that. But yeah, dude, it's so true, man. And this is such an exciting time to be in this space. I want you to cover really quick. Tell everyone, I know what it looks like because I asked you this before, but tell everyone how lean your team is at $75,000 per month. Like, how lean is it? Tell them how many people you actually employ and where those people are based. And I don't think anyone's going to believe you.
Yeah, so I have direct hires, and then I have a couple sales people that do like a profit split. And so my direct hires are all VAs in the Philippines. I have a setter slash prospector. I have a site builder, and I've got a backlinker. They're all based out of the Philippines. Well, one of them's based out of Nepal. The other two are Philippines. And then I've got some guys that I just like building business with my friends because it's fun. And so we'll sell sites that other people have ranked organically that they don't want to do the sales part for whatever reason, and they bring them to us, and we get them closed on a flat fee and do a profit split. And so I've got guys that help me do that are involved in my agency, but that's the whole team.
It's crazy. What other business, and that's why I call this digital drug dealing. What other business can you have 4 people in the Philippines and make $75,000 per? Now, I know you have ad costs, I know you have some overhead, but like if you look at your profit, in fact, let's ask that question. What would you, I know that your profit margin is the lowest it will ever be because of the ads. And then as soon as you turn off the ads, it only gets higher. But what's your profit margin overall, net, right now, would you say?
Yeah, I've got a gross margin of 65%.
65%. Amazing. And when you say gross, that means like you're not paying yourself, whatever. That's just your.
That's before any operational costs and reinvestment or put back in, basically things that are operationally related somehow or are like sort of tangentially tied to my agency's goals, like reinvesting into other projects that are related to my agency. But just off of my bottom line profit, or I guess my top line profit, my gross margin is 65%.
Amazing. And again, that's the beauty, the thing I love about this model. It only gets better.
Yeah.
It's not the opposite where it's the best and then it gets worse. When you set up a deal and you have ads running, it can only get better. because you're already spending the ads. Now as the organic comes in, you start, lowering the ads, you start increasing the organic, it only goes higher. I found the quote. I wanted to share it really quick. I've thought about this quote so many times. I wrote it down. It's been like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe even longer. And I heard somebody say this, but they said the single greatest predictor of all success in life is the ability to delay gratification.
Totally.
It's the truth, man. I'll say it again. The single greatest predictor of all success in life is the ability to delay gratification. I literally had this conversation yesterday with my son because my son has an affinity to be a little bit lazy. I don't know if you guys can relate. Maybe it's the screens, maybe it's whatever. And I didn't grow up like that. My dad had me like working on the farm. It's a little bit more difficult when I'm doing this type of business and that, but I wrote out like a chore thing. Like he has a morning routine, right? And he has to say his prayers. He has to read the Bible. He has to make his bed. He has to do 10 push-ups. He has to do 20 air squats. He has to do some shoulder press. He has to make 20 shots on the hoop, read. Like it's like an hour worth. And the dude, if I'm not there, he just completely skips it, right? He's a kid. So it's like 10 o'clock last night. We got out of the pool and I'm just like, I was just trying to explain to him, I'm like, dude, I know all your friends are, I'm like, what do you think they're doing? He's like, well, probably just playing video games. Like, yeah. I'm like, if you want to be different than all the other kids, do you think you probably should do something different than them? And he's like, yeah. And it's just, guys, if you can learn that, if you can learn to delay gratification and put in the hard work today, that is going to, give you the happiness or the success, the peace or the satisfaction tomorrow, you're so much further ahead than anyone else.
Yeah, for sure, man.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's a great quote. I found that to be very true. The one I was thinking of was Lamborghini. The company was asked why they don't advertise on television.
And I think
Their answer was, our customers don't watch TV.
it's so true, dude. It's so true. I do have a Lamborghini. I guess I am a customer, and you're right. I will admit, if I go on a plane, I'll download a movie. I'll download a series. I usually watch an episode or two because I just get bored, but and I just have to pass the time. But other than that, that's pretty rare.
Yeah,
Pretty rare you catch me.
exception. Yeah, not worth their advertising dollars.
How does somebody do this with a full-time job, kids, commitments?
When I first started out, it required more of me than it does now. I figured out how to build systems and processes. That's a big part of it for mine is building systems and processes and then being willing to reinvest back in the business. And so I closed my first deal and I had an extra, $600 a month or whatever it was. The first thing I did was hire a yard guy. So now I don't think about my yard, I just enjoy it. And so that time that I would have spent, I mean, what is that? Like 2 hours a week, like 8 hours a month, that goes right back into my agency. And then I hired a pool guy. So now I don't deal with my pool at all, right? And it just keep going, going, going. And then my wife stopped working. And so now she does all my meal prep. And so I don't make my food anymore. Like I keep reinvesting back into getting my time back. And then that compounds over time. Like it continues to pay dividends for me.
Good for you, bro. I love that. And I think there's the tactical and the strategy, and then there's also just like everyone's going to be different, right? But if you are just the type of person that has the mentality like Ryan talked about, which is like, I am going to make this work, this will be successful. I promise you that, and you say to yourself, I'm going to do this until it works, you'll figure it out. And you're figuring it out might look a little bit different than mine, but at the end of the day, if you're not making it work, it's because it's not a priority. The pain isn't great enough, and you're choosing to stay stuck in the situation you're in versus changing. That's the truth.
Yeah. And some people are happy there. I'm not one of them, right? Some people are happy just chilling. And I still know people like that just they don't really want more out of life, but it's the people who are like, no, I'm not happy with where I am. I don't want to have to worry about when I go to the grocery store how much eggs cost or how much my chicken is or like whatever their reason is for wanting more. Like I I used to be a government employee. And so when I worked for the government, like I didn't make a ton of money. Like it was a good job. It was a noble career. It fulfilled me, but I didn't make a whole lot. And like, so when I rented a 25-foot tall water slide for my kid's birthday, I've got twins, they're 7 years old, and it was $500. Like that was like not something I could even considered when I was years ago. And I just didn't even realize like how much my standard of living had changed because I was willing to put in that work for extended amount of time and delay that gratification. That like I could, what used to be like that was a frivolity. Now it's like this is just what my kid's birthday is going to be like for the rest of their life. Like they're just going to have a good birthday because this is what my values are, and I'm going to put my effort into things that provide that for them.
I want to end with this. I was sitting with my friend. I'm going to tie it back into what you just said. I'm sitting with my friend. I haven't seen this guy. In fact, I met this guy in Africa when I was a missionary 15 years ago. He was like, you know, in the missionary stuff I did, you always have to have, they call it a companion. You're always with somebody and you don't get to choose. They just stick you with somebody. And unless you're in the bathroom, you're with this person because you're supposed to watch each other, make sure you're not getting into trouble or you're safe. So I keep in mind, 4.5 months I'm with this guy. I know this guy like the back of my hand. I know his habits. I know his ticks. I know everything. I haven't seen him in, swear to you, it's been 12 years. He came to my wedding and he comes to my house on Sunday night with his 2 kids. Didn't even know he had kids. And we talked for like 4 hours. And he's unhappy with what he's doing. He's not making enough money and he's been looking at doing this. And he asked me a question. He said, and his wife was, he jumped in as well. He's like, just be honest with me. And this is the question I want to ask you, Ryan. He said, can somebody do this like me? And what he meant, and he said, he even added, he's like, somebody that doesn't love to talk to people. He's like, and I think he said that, and then his wife added, yeah, somebody who doesn't like to talk. And I guess the question I'm asking is like, can anyone do this business model, even if they don't like to talk to people, even if they don't like to sit behind a computer, even if they don't like whatever it is, you know, part of the model that's just not their thing? Do you truly believe that anybody could do this? Genuinely, I have no idea what your answer is going to be.
You've asked me that question once before, and I've thought about my answer since then. I said originally yes. Now my answer has changed. Anyone who chooses to do it can do it. Some people, for whatever reason, just don't have the vision and the why that propels them to action. But the people that have that vision and why that allows it to propel themselves into action can absolutely do this business model. I'm an introvert. Like I'm a very introverted person. I spend like my leisure time, I do activities like jujitsu or shooting that are like don't require like talking kind of interaction. Like that's how my personality is wired. But sales, like I learned sales, like I learned how to do the screencast. I learned all the things that you show in the blueprint, right? I learned how to do those things and prospected and called people. And because I had the vision and the why that overrode those natural inclinations and the deficits in my character and personality and business skills that allowed me to get where I really wanted to go. And so if someone has that vision for themselves and their family and their future, they can use that energy that comes with it to overcome the areas of the business model that maybe they're not quite naturally inclined to. And that's just like growth of your character and your who you are as a person and your skill set. And that's weird. All those things are part of that process. And so yes, the answer in short is yes, but they have to have the prerequisite of a vision that's better than where they are now.
And I gave him a bit of a similar answer. I just said, I'm like, I didn't know what a website was or what a domain. I didn't know what that word meant. I didn't know anything about computers. And I'll be honest, like I said, yes, it can work and you can do it. But I said, it will be uncomfortable. It's going to be scary the first time you pick up the phone.
Yeah, that's growth.
That's it, man. But I also said to him, I said, me personally, I got to a point, I was so sick and tired of pretending I was busy when the vacation came up. So I didn't have to tell my wife no, or not being able to go to Disneyland, or having to sneak a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in instead of actually being able to eat in the park. I was so sick and tired of having to just live that like economy lifestyle when I watched everybody else living first class, that pain was greater than the fear of picking up this stupid metal plastic box. And I think sometimes until you get to that point, you're just going to stay comfortable. And it's terrifying.
It is. It's terrifying. I'm dude, that resonates with me so much. Like that's exactly how I felt about this like water slide for my kid. Like I want them to have a rad 7th birthday. They get one 7th birthday ever, and then it's gone. I've got twins, and it's gone. There's no redo of that. And so if I'm broke and I can't give them like the birthday that I would hope to give them as a father, because I just chose to do what, like watch Netflix. Like I chose to use my time in a way that serves me versus like putting it into like building a life for them that they can look back and be like, yo, dad hooked it up when we were 7. Like, remember, like, look at these pictures. Like, that's the vision that I have for my life, and rank and rent and digital real estate is the path to do that.
Sick. Awesome, dude. I got a million more questions, but guys, for now, for time's sake, I mean, at the end of the day, we can show you guys a million It's just funny. Like, I don't know how, if I'm somebody in this free group, how much more proof you need to see. We've got people in all different backgrounds, people with like Ryan, he's got a full-time job, 2 kids, wife, dog, everything. He's at $75,000 per month. And the mentality I have is if Ryan Dalton can do it, I can do it. If Nick Wood can do it, I sure as hell can do it, because that guy ain't that smart. And I just hope that like our goal with this call is number one, to provide value. So hopefully there was a nugget that you took and you're actually going to implement, because if not, you wasted your time. Is number one, to provide value, and potentially that was to inspire you to say, hey, I have a full-time job, but I want more, or I have a full-time job, or I have kids and I have all these responsibilities and the timing's not right, but let me just jump in. Because if you hadn't started 2 years ago, you wouldn't be where you are today. You just did it.
Yeah, there's the best day to plant a tree is yesterday, but the second best day to plant a tree is today.
It's actually really true. Even though it's cliche, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's true. Ryan, thanks for being on, and everybody else. One last mention, just really quick. As of next week, we will not be doing lives this way. What we're going to be doing is we'll be announcing the topic on Mondays, and you'll see a post go out, and you'll have to do something, whether it's DM, comment, whatever the case is, in order to get the link. And we're going to be capping the number. We want to have smaller, intimate groups where I can work. They can come in and you guys can ask me questions. We're going to be moving towards that. So it's going to be our last live like this. So make sure you guys are checking the group on Mondays so that you can see what's going on Tuesdays. So you can get that link. So anyway, Ryan, thanks for being on, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for having me.
See you, bro. Bye.
See you.